Hi friends, Analeah here. Today I'm going to show you how to assemble my Flyout pop-up cards. Here I have two examples of the Halloween variations, but check out my shop for other variations. This one is a nice coffin with a flyout bat shape. And this one is a haunted house with a little flyout ghosty. So the pop-up mechanism in all of the cards in this collection works exactly the same way. This little flyout that you can kind of see in here, it kind of makes an L shape. So I'm going to show you how to assemble this card collection and do that pop-up assembly with our haunted house version. For detailed written instructions on all of the cards in this collection, check out my website. The pop-up mechanism works the same for all of the cards, but there is some variation, of course, in the flyout decoration itself and the decoration on the front of the card. So let's get started with our software setup.
Okay, Cricut users, let's set up our flyout card. So I have Cricut Design Space open, and then I'm going to click Upload on a blank canvas, and then Upload Image. And I'm going to drag in my SVG, in this case, my Haunted House Ghost flyout card. The same basic assembly steps will apply to any version. So let's click Continue, and then Upload. So there's three things that we want to make sure that we attach for any version of this card. We have the score line for our card base. We have the score line for the object that's on our flyout. In this case, it's a ghost. It could be a bat. It could be something else. And then we have our flyout mechanism, which has several score lines on it. So right now, everything is grouped together. I am going to ungroup them. It's currently selected, so you can right-click and choose Ungroup. I'm going to press Ctrl-Shift-G on a PC to ungroup. On a Mac, that's Command-Shift-G. And if we take a look at our Layers panel, we can easily identify the things that need to be attached. So if we scroll down to the very bottom and twirl open that group at the bottom, we have the score line and the card base that need to get attached to each other. So whatever shape you have for the version that you're creating, you have your card base and a center score line for the card base. So I'm going to click on the top of that group so that both of those are selected, and then I'm going to click Attach. Next, we have the score line for the object that goes on our flyout. In this case, it's a ghost, so that's the next group up. And we can see we've got the ghost and our dashed score line. So I'm going to click on the top of that group so both of those things are selected, and then click Attach. And then lastly, we have our flyout mechanism. So if we twirl open this group, it's the group at the very top. We have a whole bunch of cut lines, and then we have our piece for the actual card itself. So I'm going to hide that so you can see what those score lines look like. We've got a center score line. We've got two score lines on the bottom of the sides to make the glue tabs. And then we have two sets of diagonal score lines that make V's. I'll turn that back on, select the top of that group, and then click Attach. So I'm going to go ahead and click Make, and this will send our mats over. So I have my ghost with my dashed score line. I've got the white for the inside of the card. So my ghost is like a slightly gray color, and I'm cutting that on textured cardstock. The insert of the card I want to cut on smooth cardstock so that I can write on it. I have my darker gray fence pieces. I've got the window frames and the doorknob. I've got the door and the roof pieces. And then on black, we can see I've got my card base, the backing piece for the window, the little ghost face, and then importantly, our flyout mechanism. So double check that you've got your card base, your flyout mechanism, and whatever object goes on that flyout mechanism all attached with their score lines properly before you send to cut. So I'm going to go ahead and click continue and cut these, and I'll see you over in the assembly. Okay, Silhouette users, let's get our flyout set up. So I have Silhouette Studio open, and I just happen to be the featured artist of the week that I'm recording this. So there's my little picture. And I'm gonna pop over to design on the top. And right now I have my document set up with my Cameo 5, my electrostatic mat, and then I'm gonna set my media size to 12 by 12 because that's what I'm cutting with. You can also see the red line here, and that's my cut border. And that is under the grid settings if you want to turn that on so you can align your paper. Now, even though the cards are different, the setup that we want to make sure we get right is our score lines on our flyout mechanism. So I'm going to go ahead and close my page setup, and I am going to bring in my SVG file. I'm just going to drag it in. And so I'm showing you again the setup with the haunted house and ghost flyout version, but the same general setup is going to apply to any version of this card that you have. The key things being that we make sure we get our score lines on our flyout mechanism, our thing that is attached to the flyout mechanism. In this case, it's a ghost. It could be a bat. It could be something else. And then we have our score line on our card. So the other decorative pieces for the front of the card don't really need any other setup, so that doesn't really matter. And we can actually go ahead and just drag those off to the side. So I'm just going to start dragging things over. I like to group things on the, Control-Z that. I like to group things on the left-hand side by color, and then I drag them onto the mat as I cut them. And then when I cut them, I drag them off to the right. I'll drag my fence over, and the white for the inside of the card. And then I also can go ahead and drag over the face for the ghost, which is grouped. So right now I have my base pieces that need to have the score lines grouped to make sure we get them all together. So there's the card base, which just has a center score line. So if we pull open our layers menu, again, if you're in starter mode, you can toggle that on and off up at the top. Otherwise, if you're in starter mode, you just want to look for this layers icon, and it will say layers. And so the card base is our bottom layer, and we can select both of those pieces there easily. And then we want to right click and say group, or on PC that's Control-G, on a Mac that's Command-G. We also want to group the score lines for our ghost in this case, so the thing that is on our flyout, so we can drag select those, or we can select them in the layers panel. And I'm going to press Control-G. Again, you can right click and choose group. On a PC that's Control-G, or on a Mac it's Command-G. And then lastly, we have our flyout mechanism, and this is the most important piece. We have, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see here. We have our score line down the middle. We have score lines for 2 glue tabs here. And then we have 2 sets of diagonal score lines that make 2 V's. So we're going to drag and select all of that, or select that in the layers panel. And then again, Control-G on a PC or Command-G on a Mac. So now that we have our score lines grouped, we can go ahead and just work our way through cutting all of our elements. So I'm going to drag those black pieces back over and get this all set up to cut. And then when I'm done cutting one group of colors, I'll just select everything and drag it off to the side so I know what I've already cut. So get your paper pieces cut and meet me over in the assembly.
In addition to the cardstock for whichever flyout card variation you're making, you'll need some glue. I'm using the 𝗩𝗚𝗘𝗧𝗔𝗛 Precision Craft Glue. I have a bone folder. You could use the side of a pencil or a pen. This is to help flatten out and crease really well all of our pop-up mechanism pieces. I've got some pointy tweezers here to help with the couple small bits on this card. The variation you're making may not have small bits, and so you may not need tweezers. And then I also have a stack of cardstock in a little folder, and this is slightly heavy, and I'm going to use this to hold the card closed while the glue dries. To get specific details on the cardstock needed for your variation of this flyout card, check out the written instructions for your variation on my website. There'll be full details of the colors and brand of cardstock that I used. Let's get to the assembly. So like I said, the flyout mechanism in this card collection is the same, and the assembly for this is going to be the same regardless of the decorations that you have on the front of the card. So we have our flyout mechanism and we have our card base, and then I have my little embellishment that's going to go in the flyout. So for this one, because our ghost has a little face on it, I'm going to start by putting his face on. So I'm gonna fold my ghost right along that center line, and I'm going to use that bone folder to score along that line and really push that crease down. And then I'm gonna go ahead and go in the other direction. This makes sure that the crease and movement is nice and smooth, and it's not resisting the card when we do our folds. Now, for this ghosty, we have a score line that's not totally centered on the face. So what we're gonna do is put one eye on the left of the score line, and then on the right, we're gonna put the other eye in the mouth. We don't want to put anything overlapping the score line because that's going to interfere with the movement of the card. So I'm gonna pick up my little face pieces, make sure that I've got them all going in the right direction, and then I'm going to go ahead and add my glue. I'm going to use my tweezers to help line things up. So again, just want to make sure that I'm not covering that crease. All right, here's my little ghost face. So I'm gonna let this dry for a second while we work on the pop-up mechanism. So we're gonna crease our card base, fold along that center line, and use our bone folder or pencil. What do we have? To make sure we flatten that out, and that's gonna make sure that our card lines up really well and the pop-up moves freely when the card is opened. And then again in the opposite direction, just to make sure we're getting a good crease. Okay, So for our pop-up mechanism, we have a center score line, our 2 glue tabs, and then 2 sets of diagonal lines that make V's, and those are our valley folds. So we're gonna start by scoring this in half. Again, we're gonna use that bone folder, get a good crease. Both directions. We're gonna do our glue tabs. All right. Next, we're gonna just go ahead and fold this in half, and we're going to fold along our V score line. So again, in half, fold along that diagonal line that folds this over, and we're gonna give this a good crease and then fold it the opposite direction and crease again. And then we're going to find the little diagonal line on the top, which kind of makes a little triangle that folds over. And then we're going to go ahead and crease that in both directions. Next, we're going to just those little tabs fall backwards. And what we're gonna do is push forward in the middle so that our V at the bottom folds forward. And this is going to pinch the mechanism closed and kind of fold this piece in. That makes a little L shape. And then at the top where we have our V, we're gonna push that backwards and it makes a little valley. We'll go ahead and pinch that. So if we hold on to our glue tabs and just pull them apart, we can see a pop-up mechanism working here for our flyout. So next, what we're going to do is glue our little ghosty right into this valley. So I'm going to add glue on both sides of this little V. And then we are going to take our ghosty, fold it in half, and we'll sandwich him in right there. Doesn't really matter, like towards the middle top. And we want our crease pushed all the way back against the crease in the V. And we'll pinch that for a second, and like gently, we can gently open that up. You can see that opens our ghosty. Next, we are going to add this mechanism to the inside of the card. So we have 2 glue tabs, and what we want to do is line this up so that the center score line on our flyout is exactly in line with the center score line on the card. So I will add my glue. And then what we're gonna do is just gently open this up. Make sure that we're right on that center score line. And then I'm going to just fold the card over with that glue tab down and give it a gentle press. If you just barely open that up, you can see that pop up working. And what we're gonna do is go ahead and set this aside for about 5 minutes so that the glue can dry underneath that stack of paper or whatever slightly heavy object you have. Now, while that is getting situated, this particular design has a couple of additional features that we can glue while we wait for that to dry. So I have the 2 pieces for the window that goes on the front door. And I will flip that over and add my glue. And then I have my door, and the window is going to sit on the door, and I have my little doorknob piece. I'm going to flip that onto the back, add a little dab of glue, and place my doorknob. And then I'm going to place my window. All right, so let's go ahead and let that dry for a second, and then we'll come back and finish applying the decoration. Let's finish our assembly. So now that the inside piece is dry, we can go ahead and open that up and see our pop-up mechanism in action. So there's our nice ghosty. Now what we want to do is put our note card inside. So I'm going to take this as a smooth cardstock, and it lines up right up against the edge of our pop-up mechanism about. And so I'm gonna take this and go ahead and glue it in. If you want to print or sketch, print and cut, use your machine to sketch, write your message, I recommend you do that before gluing it in. It's just a little bit easier. And then we're gonna go ahead and line up right along that mechanism there and give it a good press. And now we just need to finish the front. So for this card, I'm going to start with my fence piece on the left. It lines up flush to the left and the bottom, and then the door, and then the other fence piece. That way I get my door nice and centered. So I'm going to flip this over. Add my glue, and then we're going to again line this up so that it's right up against the side and the bottom of the card. Next is my door. Right up against the fence and the bottom of the card. And then my other fence piece. There we go. Now I'm gonna do the roof so that I can position the windows nice and centered. So for this, we have 4 layers for the roof. And I'm gonna start with the whitest piece at the bottom. It's got a little bit of a corner that lines up right in the corner of the card there, so it's easy to position this in the correct place. So I'm going to add my glue. Again, I'm positioning that like a little pointy piece right in the corner. And then my edges line up just so. And give that a good press. Now, for our next piece, we are going to line this up so the point of the scallop is just inside the next piece, and you can see It lines up right on the side where it should be, so if you get it a little too high or a little too low, it's not quite going to line up and cover the way that it should. So we'll add our glue to this piece. Again, if you have watched any of my other assembly tutorials, you know that I love glue because it gives us a little bit of wiggle room to help line things up nicely. We'll repeat the same for the next two pieces here. Again, the scallop points just line up just underneath that previous section. Scooch, scooch. And then our last little scallop lines up right at the top, flat with the card top. You may find it helpful to open up the card to help position this. Okay, I'll give that a press. And lastly, we just have our two windows to position. So I like to position these so that the top of this bar is like roughly the top of that door. These windows are a great example of why I love the precision tip on this Barely Art craft glue so much. And it dries clear, so once it's dry, we can peel out any excess that might show through or use a glue eraser to clean that up. And then we'll add glue to our second window. And center that, line it up about the same height. Kind of dab up some glue. And here we have our haunted house flyout card. Don't forget to check out my website for detailed instructions on all of the variations of this flyout card design. Thanks for crafting with me today. I'll see you next time.